And now, of course, the clearance by Peter Latchford. Here's Russell again. Gordon Smith. Gordon Smith scores his 20th goal for Rangers.
Gordon Smith.
Hello, how do you do?
I'm good, yourself?
Simon, good mate, yeah.
Got you to play in a normal game today of walking football.
Yeah,
is that the first time you've come to a session, a walking football session, Gordon?
It is, yeah. No, the other ones I've been involved in before, been like the tournaments.
Yeah.
I've turned up and played in them, but this is the first one session, but it was good. But as I say, I still find it slightly frustrating because I do like to run.
Right.
And I do want to have more than 3 touches. You know, that's
of course.
That's frustrating.
It is an equaliser though, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How did you find it?
It was good.
Nethercraig, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good.
I would say that was low intensity today as well. On an open park, indoors it can be even lower intensity than that. But you enjoyed it anyway?
It was good, yeah. As I say, it's tough, it's a bit frustrating, but I still enjoyed getting the kick of the ball and all that stuff.
You scored?
I did score a goal.
That's why you enjoyed it. That's why you enjoyed it. The lap of honour, I thought, was taking things just a bit too far.
I know, I just get carried away when I scored. You know.
The old celebration.
Yeah.
Gordon, I don't know if you know, but I was a policeman in a former life and a private investigator after that. So for the last couple of weeks since I've known you were coming in here, I've had the squad out, you know, doing background. Oh yes, we vet people very, very carefully before they get in here. So, and I never have notes on these things either, but because of the research that we've done, I thought I would have today. And apparently you, Gordon Smith, are in the Hall of Fame as having won 3 championships with 3 different teams.
Yeah, I wish it was me, but that was the man I was named after. The famous Gordon Smith. That was the one that played with.
You weren't born in 1921.
Yeah, no, I'm a wee bit younger than that. I know I look it.
Sack the team. Sack the researchers.
By the wrong person you got in here. He was. I was named after him.
Right.
Yeah, because my grandpa Martha played for Kilmarnock and won the Scottish Cup.
That's right.
And my older brother's named after him. So I'm second born, and who was the most famous Smith at the time playing football was Gordon Smith, and I got named after him. But he hadn't won 3 league championships at that point when I was born. But he ended up. He's only player
Hibs, Hearts, and Dundee, I think.
He's only player ever to win 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you consider none of the championships were at Old Firm. Who else?
Right.
Who else could do that? Because even
that's not going to be repeated.
Exactly. Because even everybody who's won 2. Yes. Actually, it was Old Firm.
Unless they both go down south and play in the English League.
Well, that doesn't count as we're talking about Scottish Championships here.
No, I mean if Rangers and Celtic both go and play down south.
Well, you never know. They might. I'm not sure if they win many leagues when they go down
teams
there.
up here. So you're Gordon Duffield Smith.
Yes, Duffield. My granny's name. That's me.
Researchers are hired again. Is that your grand's name? Is that
it was,
And where are you from, Gordon?
I was from Stevenston, brought up in Stevenston, born in Kilwinning.
Ayrshire lad.
Ayrshire lad, born and brought up in Stevenston, and I was there till I got married. I was 22 years of age. No, sorry, 23 when I got married and moved to Kilmarnock. That's why you've been calling me Ken all day. Is that right? Do you ken what I talk about?
And professional footballer? What age were you?
Well, I had the chance to. I signed in a schoolboy forms for Kilmarnock when I was 14. I got offered Rangers, Celtic and Kilmarnock, and my dad said Kilmarnock, and I went, because you're a fan? And he went, no. He says, you've got more of a chance there. He says, and if you make it, they'll come back in for you. It was actually good advice. At the time I was thinking, you know, he's just influenced by the fact that my grandpa played for Kilmarnock.
Right.
He's a Kilmarnock fan, the Ayrshire connection. But it turned out well because
you knew what he was talking about.
Well, see, at 14 years of age, I was signed this for him, and in the summer, that was about the March, I think, and in the summer there was the players, the full-timers were coming in for pre-season training. I was invited in. I was training with the Kilmarnock first team at 14 years of age. I mean, people like Tommy McLean, Jim McLean, Frank Beattie and Jackie McGrory, Andy King, all these people were still were playing at the club, and I was training with them. Brilliant. It was amazing.
Who was the manager at that time?
Walter MacRae.
Right.
Yeah, Walter MacRae signed me. He was the manager, and then I became a professional at 16. And at 17 I was in the first team at Kilmarnock.
Wow. Yeah. Had you wanted to be a professional footballer, was that?
Yeah, right from a little kid. I was dedicated to becoming a professional. That was all I did. And I actually, fun enough, I was at Kilmarnock. I used to, my grandpa and my uncle used to take me to Kilmarnock games when I was a little kid. And I was influenced.
Sorry for that.
I know, I was influenced greatly though when I saw a player who I thought, that's who I want to be, and it was Jim Baxter playing for Rangers, you know. And the amazing thing was, and it turned out to be the luckiest thing for me, Simon, that I actually started using my left foot then because I wanted to like Jim Baxter, and it meant it did mean that I became a two-footed player, and one of the I didn't see it as a compliment at the time, but Willie Fernie came in when I was 18. I'd played a season in the first team. Willie Fernie became the Kilmarnock manager. Came from Celtic. He was in charge of the reserves there, and he put me in the left wing. And after about 4 or 5 games, I went to see him and I went, "Look, boss, you put me in the left wing. I don't want to play there."
He thought you were left-footed.
That's what he said. He goes, "I need to play there, son, because you're left-footed." And I went, "I'm not." "Yes, you are." I mean, imagine having that argument with somebody. I look back now and I think that's a compliment.
Wow.
When he thought I was left-footed and I wasn't. So I was fortunate in that because of that, trying to be like somebody, it meant that actually it was the best thing that ever happened, because a lot of kids don't think about playing with the other foot, and I was dedicated to becoming a professional, and I didn't at that time I didn't use my left foot because I was thinking I need to become better on left foot. I was trying to copy Jim Baxter, but it turned out to be really good for me because it became a player that teams could play on either side of the park.
Yeah, what an advantage that is when you try getting a team. Yeah. Because that left side's always the balance is always a problem with any team, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it helped me greatly and that's why I was in the first team at 17. And
so how long did you play for Kilmarnock for?
I was there till I was in the first team at 17, and I was 22 when Rangers bought me.
Right.
Yeah.
The first time. Well, you came on loan again after
that.
Loan. Yeah. Record fee at the time?
When I left, it was record fee.
Right.
But for Kilmarnock, I'm not sure Kilmarnock was a record fee or not. But the amazing thing was, I'd heard loads of rumours that Rangers were interested. Even Derek Johnson had said to me once on a Scotland trip, under 23s for Scotland, he said, Jock Wallace always speaks highly of you before we play and all that. And when I signed for Rangers, I shook Jock Wallace's hand. He welcomed me at the club, and he said, "That's taken a while." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I've been trying to sign you for the last 4 years. Did you not know?"
Nobody told you?
No. And I went,
did we have agents in those days?
No.
I know you went on to become an agent, which maybe explains it a wee bit.
That was one of the things that actually
So in those days it was between clubs and the player knew nothing about it. It was a done deal.
I'll tell you a cracker as well. This is about 15 years ago. I was at dinner in Hilton in Glasgow, and Tommy Docherty was speaking.
You're some name dropper, aren't
I know,
you? Really?
Definitely. There's more to come.
Now you can drop mine.
And Tommy Docherty said, just during his speech, he suddenly went, "I see Gordon Smith there, nice to see Gordon. I tried to sign Gordon as Man United manager." On his speech, right? So I went like that. I went up to him afterwards and I said, "Excuse me, hi Tommy." He went, "Hi Gordon." I said, "See what you said?" He went, you didn't know?" I said, "No, I didn't." And he goes, "You were 19 years old." He said, "I offered Kilmarnock 100,000 for you, and Kilmarnock accepted it. It was a Friday, and he said, Kilmarnock said, 'Can we do the deal on Monday? Can Gordon play for us tomorrow, and we'll complete it on Monday?'" And he went, "Okay." He says, "You must have played well, Gordon." And I went, "Why?" And he goes, "Because when I'm back on Monday, they wanted more." And he said, "You agreed 100,000 on Friday.
Yeah.
That's the deal." And he said they kept trying to negotiate. Eventually, he said I put the phone down on him, and that was me finding out.
Wow, that's your whole future change.
That was me
right there.
That was me finding out as a 50-year-old that I could have been at Man United. You know.
I was speaking to Willie Henderson like a while ago now at Ibrox. I used to do some security stuff at Ibrox, and Willie told me a story that he signed for the team in Japan. Is it the J League?
Ah.
I can't remember who he was signing for.
Right.
And the opposite happened to him. That he had promised him he would sign, and then over the weekend somebody came to him with more money, more this, more that. But Willie said, "No, I've told them I'll sign," and that's because to him a handshake was the most important thing, you know. And he went and played in Japan for that year or whatever.
Was it not Hong Kong you went to?
Was it Hong Kong? I think you're right.
Hong Kong you went
to.
Yeah, Hong Kong. But that was Willie's a great wee guy. He's still a sharp cookie. He's brilliant. But as I say, that was the. I found out a few others. There was other people. Even I signed from Manchester City later on. The main scout at Manchester City, Barnes, his name was, and his son was a player at Man City. And he said to me, "It was great you're finally here." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, "We've been trying to sign you for a few years. We came in for you when you were at Kilmarnock, and then Rangers. We made you acquire at Rangers. Never knew a thing."
How would that interpret today then, Gordon? Because you've been an agent not that long
you would
ago.
find out.
What would happen now?
What happens more or less that the first call is the agent.
Right.
Because
so if a club's got an eye on a player,
they
need to find out his contractual situation, whatever, and they phone his agent to do that.
And they want to know whether the player would be interested in going to them, right? So
this is why he's still in contract.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. And what happens is that sometimes I even in scenarios where the club actually asked me, I negotiated the deal before they actually made the bid, because what they didn't want was they didn't want to be making a bid and it became big publicity.
Yes,
and then the player turns them down for the money, and then it's embarrassing for the club, right? So what they do is negotiate the deal first, and then they make the bid.
Because the player could use that to get into a bidding war. Agents would never do it.
Some do that. Some would now, but in my day, I think the agents. There's more agents now. We used to have to put up a bond to be an agent in my day.
That's right, £100
grand bond it was. So if you made a mistake, you were susceptible to losing a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah. Was it more regulated then than it is now?
More regulated. Yeah, it's not so regulated now. It used to
anybody can be an agent now.
Yeah.
Really?
You used to have a certificate and everything. I think I don't know what was quite. That isn't the case nowadays. The regulation with the bond sort of thing, but I think now you have to go through. You still do have to register. I think with UEFA.
Okay, and accept it obviously. Yeah. So nowadays it would be done between the agents and the club.
I would have found out if
you'd have been told.
Yeah, I'd have found out. Yes, I'd have found out with the original move. Rangers interested in me. I'd have found out with Manchester United. I definitely.
Well, here's the $1 million question. And if you'd known about all these clubs, where would you have gone?
It's hard to say. I mean, at 19, if Man United had come in and I'd found out about it, I would have been quite keen to go there.
Were you managing your own affairs at that point at 19? Or was your dad still
not really
to do with it?
Your parents were into it. I was doing my degree at that time. I went and did a degree, you see. So my mum.
What's that?
This is the funny. My mum actually put me in for a degree. I didn't actually apply, and she was determined I was going to be educated, because I think she always had in her mind that I wasn't going to be a pro at first, and that's why she made me do. I had to stay on and do my higher.
So my mother get a trade.
Yes, back up. Yeah. So that was what, and then I was doing a degree with Man United. So I'd probably given up my degree to go to Manchester United if I'd known about it.
What was your degree in?
Business studies.
Right. Well, that's come in handy then. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's wind back then to walking football.
Uh-huh.
How did you get involved?
It was just, I just got invited along. It was doing the prize giving. It was Matt
Ramsey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt invited me along to do the prize giving, and then,
what lies did they tell you?
They didn't say much. I got to know him, and he just said he'd like to come along. Then eventually, after I did that 2 or 3 times, did presentations, did the draw for competitions, he then said to me, would you like to have a game at some stage and all that? I said, yeah, I'll give it a go, sort of thing.
So what did you think, Gordon, when he first said to you walking? Was that a new thing to you, a new term?
No, I'd heard about it before. As a friend of mine, a friend of family had been involved in it down in England as well, to start up the walking football. So it was...
you were aware of the concept?
I was aware of the concept. The only thing about it was that I wasn't sure about the fact it had to be 3 touches in the game. I always thought it could
there's different versions of walking football.
I suppose there are, yeah.
There's even clubs here in Scotland that don't. East Kilmarnock that never used to have 3 touch. So there's different variations on it.
I know, but there was tackling in the first ones I played in as well, and now that's stopped too.
Right.
They've stopped tackling, and also the ball can't be over a certain height and all that.
Crossbar height, things like that.
If
so it's evolving.
It's difficult to determine at times as well whether somebody's walking fast or actually jogging, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. It's whether I like them or not. That's what it comes down to.
Decision.
Really. Yeah. And you are very guilty of walking all the time.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do a lot of walking. I can't help myself. I count my steps per day. It's on my phone. How many steps I do.
We were playing today, and Colin, the lad, the Chinese lad that was playing, trying to get him to slow down a wee bit, because he's quite new, and when you're new you do break into a run. But I pulled him up for running today, and he said, but I was behind you. He thought that was okay if he's behind the referee.
Oh, right. I see.
I could hear him. He nearly took off.
I thought as well, you pulled him up one time for running before a free kick was about to be taken.
Yes.
He ran. Now the ball's not in play.
Yep.
Can you not even run when the ball's not in play then?
No.
No
running.
I didn't know that. That's a new one for me. Right, okay.
But referees make it up as they go along.
Oh, they do, I know. We've had VAR for a while in Scotland, haven't we? Very average referees.
Cut! Get him out of here. I don't know if they're as good as that.
No, very average would be a compliment.
Why not refereeing, Gordon?
Why did I not referee?
Yeah, very few pro footballers
I would never
take
want
much to do.
No, I never wanted to. I don't know why they did. I actually made a joke one time when I was at the SFA as chief exec. I was at a referees meeting, and I actually said, you know what? I said, see, MD wants to be a referee, they should be automatically disqualified from being
a referee.
There's something wrong with you if you want to be one. It's a bit like a politician. Anybody wants to be a policeman.
Or a
policeman. Anybody wants to be a politician shouldn't be allowed to. But I made a joke about it. I've always a lot of time.
It's not that funny.
I've always a lot of time for referees though. It was a cracker. It was a good story. I'll tell you this one. I was playing for Rangers, and we got a penalty incident. We get a penalty.
There's a surprise.
Turned down, yeah.
Turned down.
I know Celtic fans will say that. We get turned down, and two of the players had a go, and Brian McGinley was the referee, and he booked the two of them, John McDonald and Bobby Russell. And I went over. All they'd said was that was a penalty ref, and I went over and I went, "Do you know something, Brian?" I says, "You get that decision right there." And says, "I tell you what, a lot of people are going to give you stick for that, but you got that right." Okay, and I walked away. And there was I got home that night with a big talking point. My mum said, "I couldn't believe you had a real go at the referee, and yet he never booked you or whatever." I thought that was exactly it was exactly the reaction I wanted to get. But I pretended I was having a go at him, but I was actually praising him.
He was very good, McGinley, as well.
Oh, it was good. Yeah, it was a great referee. But it was so funny because I just thought I've got to try this and see how it works for the cameras.
Was it Ibrox? So there's 40,000 people think you're doing the right thing, having a go at that ref.
It was funny because when I was leaving that day, there was a few of the fans were going, "Well done, go on, you didn't have to tell him off." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks."
You heard it here. You heard it here. Brilliant. Yeah. So nowadays, I mean, the history is fascinating, and we could go on. Man City, top scorer that season at Man City that you were down. The cup final, all the stuff with Gary Bailey and all that. All that stuff's well documented. What I'm really interested to know is what you're doing now.
Well, I'm doing sort of various things. I'm doing some television stuff, still doing interviews. I had a column in the Glasgow Herald till the end of December there, and then they stopped. They just said they were struggling financially to keep their columns.
What was that about?
Just football column.
Football?
Yeah. I wrote it myself, and I used to write it on a Thursday, and I send it into them on a Friday, and then it was in the Saturday newspaper, the sports page. So I'm doing that, and I'm doing. I'm still doing a wee bit in terms of
golfing.
A bit of golf, not that much.
How did you get on last Monday with Ruff? And
oh, it was great.
Who were you with?
Ruffy, Frank McAvenny and Sati Singh. Was a lovely pairings there, but it's good. But what I said to you was, I took up golf when I went to Brighton. I never played golf until Brighton bought me from Rangers, and then I took up golf and I took up drinking.
That was the record sign.
Took up drinking down here. It was a record sign for Brighton. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was amazing. I didn't want to go.
Right.
And John Greig told me. He said to me, "Can you do me a
John
favour?"
the manager now?
Manager Rangers, right? He said, "Can you do me a favour? Could you go down and speak to Alan Mullery? He's a friend of mine, the Brighton manager." And I was like, "Okay." He said, "I don't want to sell you." And I went down there, and Davie Provan came with me, who was a coach at Rangers at the time. And it was a fascinating thing because I'd just signed a 5-year contract for Rangers. 6 months, I was a month into my 5-year contract when I spoke to Alan Mullery, and it was quite funny because the first offer they made me was double the wages I was on at Rangers. And I'm saying no, and the money kept going up and up, and then I was at 3 times the money, and a big sign-on fee, and I'm going no.
Is this where your business degree came in?
Yeah, well, it taught me a great lesson when I became an agent. You know, if you don't want to go do something, whatever, you generally get better money. Yeah. So what happened was, he said, "Go for lunch." So I went for lunch. Davie Provan, and Davie said, "That's some offer, Gordon." I went, "I know, that's unbelievable." And he goes, "Do you not think of taking it?" And I went, "You know I'm not taking it." He goes, "All right, I might as well tell you, the deal's done. We've sold you." I went, "What do you mean?" He says, "We've accepted the fee and we've sold you." I said, "That's not what John Greig told me." So I phoned Ibrox, and Greggy came on the phone, and the first thing, "Have you signed?" And I went, "You know I'm not signing." "Aye, yeah." I went, "I'm not." He goes, "Yes, you are." He said, "If you don't sign, I'll make your life hell." He says, "You'll never kick a ball in the first team again. You won't even get a game in the reserves."
Had they made Rangers that offer that they couldn't refuse? Yeah. That was the record signing, and Rangers wanted the
I didn't know it was a record signing at that point. I didn't even know much of a pay. But it was quite funny because I actually... I said, I couldn't believe he told me that. So I went back and I signed. I signed for Brighton. It was June.
Had you a family at this point?
My wee boy was a month old.
Wow.
Yeah, he was just a month old. So I went back to sign for Brighton. Alan Mullery said to me, "That's great, you've come. I've been in 7 times this season trying to buy you." And then he told me something fascinating. He said, "I tried to buy you and Davie Cooper." And I went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "First time I saw you playing 2 games, Gordon." He says, "You scored 3 goals in the 2 games. And Davie Cooper made the 3 of them."
McDonald to Cooper. Back to McDonald. And Cooper again. Cooper still has it. Coming straight through, turns it out in front of the goal. Brilliant Cooper, brilliant Smith, 2-0.
And I offered Rangers for the both in it, and he goes, he says, they told me I could only have one of you. He says, I've chosen you. And I went, oh, you get the wrong one. That's what I said to him. He did laugh at that. And he went, oh, no, he goes, I want a goal scorer. I went, well, okay. But I said, I can't believe that. And he said, he tried to buy both of us. And yet, so I was a record fee from Rangers, selling fee. But I didn't want to go. But I met John Greig after that at times, and I did.
Yeah, of course.
I did thank him.
You worked at Ibrox after that.
Yeah, that's right.
You?
Yeah, but I did thank him because, see, at the end of the day, it was a great career move for me in respect of going to play in the top level in England. Was good. Obviously, I was more money right away, as I mentioned there. Yes. But I got to met a lot of friends down there. Brighton was a good cup to play for. Yeah, played in the cup.
He's a little behind him, and he's attacked there by Wilkins, but still Greenish. Now Smiley. Howlett now. Crossed in towards Smith. And a goal! Brighton have scored!
What a crazy
Gordon Smith has put the underdogs into the lead.
Battle of the World.
Lovely. Oh, yeah. It's lovely down there. And so I did enjoy it, and as I say, I then moved on to Man City.
And that's good running by Clive Wilson. And on he goes. He's got Melrose in the middle. A chance for Melrose. Well blocked by Cox. Gordon Smith. Manchester City at last.
From there, probably if I'd stayed at Rangers, I probably wouldn't have moved on to England.
Yes.
So I'm happy. I was happy with that, Simon. You know.
It was a different time, wasn't it? A different environment entirely, and the clubs had all the power.
Oh, definitely.
Has it flipped completely now?
Oh yeah, it's really players have a lot more power than that. I mean, because of the Bosman thing and all that, we had no power at all. Just a case of you were almost like a slave, a sporting slave.
Remind us about Bosman then, because you were very much involved in those days. Because there'll be people watch this and don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, as an agent, what happened was that it was the guy Bosman was a player, and the Dutch player, and he went to the civil court and the European court to try and make that when your contract was up, you were then free to leave. In my day, the contract meant nothing other than what you were earning. The registration was a crucial factor. If a club registered you and they didn't want to deregister you, you couldn't get about it. Yeah.
Like it is in amateur football now.
You had to stay there.
You're registered with a club and that's it.
That's right. We had to stay with that club. So even every year at Kilmarnock, I could never have left because they just said, you know, here's another offer for you. They upped your money by like £5 a year or £5 a week. And that was, you had to sign and
putting another year or two onto your card because Dundee United were the ones that exploited that.
They were famous for it. They used to have an option in it as well. It was a 4-year contract with a 4-year option, which meant you were actually signing an 8-year contract, but the option belonged to the club. It was them.
They could get rid of you after 4.
Yes.
The option wasn't for you.
No, the option was for the club. Unbelievable, wasn't it? And that was the way it was. So the Bosman thing, he won his case and ended up, and I feel sorry for him because he should, because of the money that players made after that, money should have been put aside to give to him in terms of the job he did, in terms of helping players.
Was he just a journeyman player in Holland?
He was a decent player, but he was a journeyman extent. But he just made the big issue of fighting it and taking it to the court and the European court, and he won his case.
It changed the whole football world, didn't it?
Totally. I mean, the money that players have made sense because of that. You know, you look at the wages and that now; it's just incredible.
Yep. So. Now, you're still playing walking football. You've just called off from Friday's Cup competition because you're away in a jaunt somewhere. Where are you off to?
Away in a jaunt. I'm doing some stuff for 5 Star who do the Rangers, they do all the sort of media stuff for Rangers and all the events and everything. So they've asked me to do a wee event. I'm MC. I'm not the actual
the star attraction.
I'm just the person who does it, and it's like I've got
not like here.
Lorenzo Amoruso, Arthur Newman, and George Alberts are my 3. I know the 3 of them quite well, and they're good lads.
Yeah, we game of 5-a-sides. If you get a keeper, you're sorted.
Good too. I get a keeper. There's a good.
Big Rough could go with you.
Get Rough now. We want a keeper.
I met him recently, Gordon, at one of the walking football things, and he was my childhood hero. There's my snood, my Jag snood. As a 11, 12-year-old, I was at Firhill all the time watching Ruffy, and I met him at the walking football, and I said, Ruffy, I'd never met him before. And I said, at the cup final, the 1971 cup final, at half time when we were 4 up, we were all crammed into our wee parts at Hampden, and we were all really nervous that we'd got them angry. We were wondering if we could hang on to the 4-0 win.
Yeah.
And he said, dead pan as well. He says, Simon, we were saying exactly the same thing in the changing room.
I know. I bet they were. But you know, the funny thing was that I was playing the reserves at Kilmarnock that time. I was 16 years old, still in the reserve team, and I'll never forget it. We're playing a game at Robbie Park, and somebody came in at half time. Was sitting there, and we'd start at 3 o'clock as well, and they said, Partick Thistle beating Celtic 4-0 at half time. Well, no, come on. What's the score? And I went, I was phoning at me, no way. There was not one of us. We all thought it was a joke, right? No chance. That Celtic team, they were in a 9 in a row, weren't they? And it was 4-0.
I think they beat us 6-0 the week after or something like that. It was shocking.
It was unbelievable, but that was, I mean, it was just incredible. I don't know what Celtic must just have gone into that game and just thought, oh, this is going to be easy, and just the attitude might have been wrong. That happens a lot, you know.
Something I'm going to speak to you about is attitude. Because I know that you're exploring things just now with a view to bring it into football, but it's not just about football, it's attitude in every aspect of your life. In
every walk of life. This is, I'm looking at it, it's come from America. It's to do with looking at people in terms of their personality, what things affect them, and what they actually need to motivate them, and all that sort of thing. And it's a major thing, it's psychological. And I think it's not just sport, it is every walk of life, because people, even education, because of the people are talking about it, people who have done all the research on it have said that this is a big effect on people at in every sort of walk of life, from every level of their age group as well. Because little kids, you know, a teacher might talk to a little kid in a certain way, and one kid can just go, oh, that's fine, I accept that, and another one will be devastated by it. Do you know what I mean? So this is what we're looking at, is to say, we're trying to determine and maybe look at sport and say, let's judge all the people and then see how you've got to speak to these people in order to get the best out of them. Because what you're trying to do, I've always said all along, Simon, that there's 3 things important in sport, football in particular. One is like fitness, the next one is technical ability, and these are the 2 that a lot of people concentrate on. And the third one for me is mentality.
That's the one that's been letting me down.
It's the strongest one.
It's your strongest one.
Well, it is the strongest one. It's the one that that's
what you're useless without it.
Well, absolutely. And it's the other one that makes people a player. And we've seen people with,
and you can compensate for the lack of ability, and maybe a wee bit of the fitness as well.
Totally.
If your mentality is that strong.
That is the case. Certainly the case. Some players have come through in the game, not even the best player at their football team or the best player at that club, but because their attitude was right, their mentality's right, they're strong, they make it. Roy Aitken was at St Mirren when I was assistant manager. He came in as a player. Davie Hay brought him in, and he was top class. That's what we're just saying about their attitude, person, like training and playing. And it was quite funny because I brought in Jack Black, who was to do the psychology thing, right? And what happened was he went out for a coffee break, right? And I turned to big Roy Aitken and I said, "What do you think, Roy?" And he goes, "It's common sense, Gordon." I went to Chick Challen and he went, "Chick, what do you think of that?" And he goes, "Load of shite." Right? Yeah. Now, what? No, I mean,
two ends of the spectrum there.
But you know what that brought home to me? The person that needs it the most is the person who rejects it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's in life as well.
That's in life. That they just said, you know, Chick was a great player, but he just saw that was a load of crap. And yet Roy Aitken's going, common sense. Now that was the difference between the two of them, you know.
So the managers that you've worked with and for over the years, the job was, did they understand that? How to motivate people?
Some of them did, some of them didn't. You know, and that was the thing. It was a big factor. And for me, a lot of people always say about what's a good manager, and for me, man management is the main aspect rather than the coaching side of thing. Because I've worked with people who were good coaches, but they weren't good man managers, and the ones that were good man managers were the ones that generally got success. They were the ones that got people to play for them, you know. But there was a great comment once. It was Marco van Basten was doing an interview, and Marco van Basten said, Marco, yeah. And it was a great interview because they said, "You played for 8 managers, Marco. What were they like?" And he goes, "One was brilliant." He says, "One was really good. One was good, and I made it in spite of the other 5." That's what he said. I thought that summed it up very well for me. I made it in spite of them, and now that has to happen.
Because his mentality was strong.
Yeah, he was strong, great player, but he says he was doing it for himself too, and that's what you have to be. You have to be like to a degree a self-motivations major in sport. You have to say never, regardless of how the person you're playing for, what he's like, how he treats you, nothing. you think to yourself, wait a minute, I'm the one that has to play well here. It's my career, I want to do my best.
And then there's the team dynamics come into that as well, which is another field entirely.
Totally, it's a case of, not always a case of like everybody gets on together, because there's sometimes little factions in dressing rooms of players, and sometimes players can handle it in terms of how the main faction could be the experienced players maybe quite hard on a player, and he can't really deal with it. So there's loads of that. There is.
Gordon, I know we're talking about sport primarily here, but by the time you've got a handle on this and start to use it, it'll be business applications, it'll be life applications. And in here, we've got people with bereavement, with ill health, with all sorts of challenges as you get later on in life.
Yes.
And attitude is always the most important thing, how you respond to these things.
Absolutely.
So firstly, are you going to come back over for another game someday to Netherlands?
Yeah, we'll do, yeah.
When you do that, can we talk again about about attitude and some of these?
Certainly, because I'll have moved on. I'm just getting into it now. My daughter's going to be doing a lot of it with the company from America, this company's called Flowcess, and and she's taking on the business over here to bring it into this country, and I'm advising her on the basis of the football side of things, saying this could be very good for the football side. Libby, yeah. This could be really good for sport and for other aspects as well, as you've just mentioned, Simon. Not just sport, but really we're going to start and look at the football side, because that's where my background is, and where I think that.
And you know a few people.
I know a lot of people in the game.
Do you interview her?
Yeah.
Well, that's just what I was going to say. Gordon, thanks, and we look forward to speaking to Libby.
No bother, yeah, that'll be good. Speak to Libby.
The two of you.
Oh, have a two of us, we come in and talk about it, definitely.
Baker, and here's Smith for number 2. Yes! What a good finish.